Guys. Nikki Kay.
Mr Speaker, I'm very pleased to speak on the Local Government Act 2002 Amendment Bill, this first reading. Can I start by just saying, look, I think we need to reflect on why we are here. When we came into power, what we saw was excessive debt within local government. Over a period of time, we saw debt go from $2 to $8 billion. So let's just get that straight. Council debt quadrupled in New Zealand from 2002 from $2 to $8 billion. Sure. We also had a very difficult situation in Auckland whereby we had a fractured local government and we had underinvestment in infrastructure over a large period of time. We've also had, we've had fractured local government, we've had significant debt over a long period of time. And what we acknowledged is we needed change. And so what you have seen from this national government is significant reform in both the Resource Management Act, but also in local government reform. That was culminated in the Auckland local government reform, and I'm very pleased to say we now have one council, one mayor, one plan for Auckland. But what this bill is about is saying there are many New Zealanders struggling at the moment. They cannot afford excessive rates rises. They need clarity around what local government is responsible for. And what we acknowledge is that when the previous local government legislation came in, it gave incredibly wide powers around the purpose of local government. And that's where we've seen some of the debt blowout. And what we're standing up and saying is that this is part of a package of reforms that we've had, which is about reducing costs to the household, reducing costs to the businesses, reducing compliance costs, ensuring that people get speedy processes in terms of their interaction with their local authorities. We've seen that through the RMA, and we're now seeing this as a package of local government reform. You will hear, Mr Speaker, or members will hear from the left that this is about taking away democracy. They will hear that this is about ensuring that some local body members don't have as much power. But what I would say to members is we have been very clear that we do believe in local government, but we believe in local government that is not duplicating the functions of central government. That is not good for the ratepayer, that is not good for businesses, that is not good for New Zealand. We also believe in local government that ensures that businesses are able to get on and do what they need to and not have excessive cost and time delays. So I just want to address a couple of parts of this bill which I'm very confident many New Zealanders will be very pleased to see. The first thing is transparency and financial accountability in local government. Most New Zealanders that I talk to actually think that is a very reasonable, pragmatic thing to expect of local government. We do it at a central government level. We have many different processes whereby New Zealanders can look and see the accountability, they can see the transparency around where funds are spent. And this bill is saying that we are going to have stronger governance and improved efficiency and more responsible financial management. The second thing that this bill is very, very focused on is those councillors that struggle. Because there are some councillors, and let me say this, Mr Speaker, there are many councillors and local body members that do an outstanding job in New Zealand. But sometimes they get into trouble. And this is what this bill says, is we are actually going to put a process in place that strengthens those local authority governance provisions to enable central government to help those councils that may be struggling. But it also does something which I think is very important, and the genesis of this was actually the Auckland local governance reform provisions, whereby we acknowledged in order to empower elected representatives, we actually might need to give them more power over employment and remuneration authority, and it's working reasonably well in Auckland. We acknowledge that this is actually about empowering local members to be able to have greater control over their communities. These are very reasonable and sensible reforms that most New Zealanders would understand. It's about ensuring we have greater financial accountability and transparency around funds and where they're spent, but also empowering those local members to be able to get on and do their agenda. And we know, and I know there are members in this House, because I know them pretty well, who have been local representatives, who have been frustrated when local representatives have not had the ability with council officers to be able to control the agenda. And what this bill does is it gives greater power in that area. Finally, I just want to mention there is a person in the building tonight, Ambassador Hubner. We have, and I'm going to relate this to local government to ensure that it's relevant within my speech, but he gave a wonderful quote last night from Oprah Winfrey about New Zealanders and Americans and how lots of people want to ride with you in the limo, but it's the person that you want next to you when the limo breaks down who will catch the bus with you. I just want to acknowledge that part, and I'm going to link this to the local government reforms, but acknowledge that the Ambassador is in the House this evening, but that this bill is actually about delivering long-term infrastructure for communities. And what we are saying is that we are striking a balance in this bill to ensure that communities have the power over a significant period of time to pay for that infrastructure. And what we have seen in a city like Auckland is significant underinvestment over a long period of time. And the reality is that has been successive local authorities, and it's because we haven't had a structure in place. And I just want to acknowledge that what this legislation is about is ensuring that actually that is done in a reasonable and pragmatical way that is affordable for the many households that are struggling at the moment that can't afford significant rates. So this government is about greater financial transparency in local government. This government is about ensuring that local bodies have the power and are empowered by the council employees that they have with them. It's also, thirdly, about ensuring that local infrastructure is focused on what we need and is not duplicating with central government. So I'm very proud to support this legislation to the House. I support this legislation. Thank you.
Dr. Megan Woods.
Thank you, and I'm very happy to take a call on this bill.